Why can't you get out of a cult with R. Kelly? Because once you're in, you're in. What up, YouTube? Let's here. Thanks again for visiting the channel. As always, I appreciate it. If this is your first time to the channel, thank you so much for watching. If you do me a favor, just go ahead and hit that thumbs up button just for the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, do me a favor, head over to Instagram and give me a follow. It's let's_do-it-up, LETS_DOITUP. And if you want to send a knife or knives in for review on the channel, just go ahead and send me an email. I'll send you my shipping address. As soon as you send me the knife or knives, I will spend a week or two with them, do the review, and send them back to you. That's letsdiu79@gmail.com. And this review is brought to you by none other than Apex Alchemy. He's an awesome dude. He's got a lot of awesome knives, and his channel is fantastic. Just go over to YouTube, give some of his videos a watch, and if you enjoy his content, please subscribe to his channel. I'd really appreciate that. And today, we're doing a quick review on the Begg Knives Glimpse in D2. Now, there's a very important distinction here. There are some of his knives, Todd Begg's knives, that are Steelcraft series and some that are not. The Steelcraft series are knives that are made by Riot, so those are going to be much, much more expensive than the ones that are made. I believe this was made by We, so these are much less expensive. They have started out putting out some budget versions of their knives just so that people have more access to them, which is really, really cool in my opinion. Todd Begg makes a lot of really cool designs. I think I'm familiar with at least 4 or 5 of them. I'm sure there's probably more than that. But what do you say, guys? Let's do it up. Let's get started with the review. This guy is 7.2 inches overall with a 3-inch blade and a 2.73-inch cutting edge. And the handle is 4.2 inches overall. Do some quick size comparisons compared to the Rat Model 1. Let's bring this over here, sorry. The Rat Model 1 is obviously going to be quite a bit larger than, I'm sorry, this is the Mini Glimpse. I forgot to say that. And compared to the Rat Model 2, the Mini Glimpse is going to be just a hair shorter than the Rat Model 2. Compared to the DEMKO knives, the DEMKO 8020S is going to be quite a bit longer than the Mini Glimpse, and the 8020.5 is just going to be a little bit longer than the Mini Glimpse as well. Last but certainly not least, we've got the SPYDERCO knives. The SPYDERCO Paramilitary 2 is going to be quite a bit longer than the Mini Glimpse, and the Para 3, I believe, is just a hair longer, yeah, just a little bit longer than the Mini Glimpse. Carry profile, when these guys are closed, the Mini Glimpse is still going to be just a little bit shorter than the Paramilitary 2, and just a little bit shorter than the Para 3. Thickness compared to the Para 3, the Mini Glimpse is going to be just a little bit thicker than the Para 3, you can see there. And height, when compared with the Para 3, I think I'm just going to go with the flipper tab there, since that's kind of the tallest part of the knife. The Mini Glimpse is nowhere near as tall as the Para 3. The blade stock thickness on this guy is 150 thousandths, and we'll go ahead and get a quick weight on this guy. Oh, the scale's getting kind of dirty. I got to clean that. But the weight on this guy, I believe, is somewhere around 4.2 ounces, 4.1 ounces. Probably just a little bit of a discrepancy in my scale there. The website says that this is 4.2 ounces. The blade steel we have here is D2. I haven't talked too much about D2. D2 is essentially just a tool steel. It's a high carbon, high chromium die steel, and it has the highest carbon alloy of any tool and die steel typically used in knife making. There's kind of a saying out there that D2 steel is an extremely tough steel, and it's impossible to sharpen. That obviously is not the case. It's a little bit more difficult to sharpen than most stainless steels. So the steel, when used in high-end knife making, I guess you would say, there's a reason that this is used in mostly budget models and stuff like that, except for the CPM D2 version. There is definitely a difference between regular D2 and CPM D2. CPM D2 is definitely more high quality than regular D2. Just because the powder metallurgy process allows it to have a more even distribution of the carbides. D2 steel is definitely not as tough as high carbon premium steels, but it's definitely tougher than stainless premium steels, such as M390, stuff like that. So as it is used in less expensive models, it is a little bit of a tougher steel. So that's kind of a trade-off that you make there as far as, carbon content, chromium content, stuff like that. It's definitely a good steel. It's not impossible to sharpen. It's a little bit more difficult to sharpen, but once you get your method, your process, whatever you want to call it, once you get that down, it's really not that bad to sharpen. I've sharpened it before and I've never had any kind of a serious issue with it. But anyway, this is a drop point blade with a hollow ground, and we have a fuller here with some holes milled into it that extends out to about 85-90% the length of the blade. And there is a swedge here that starts about 1/4 inch down the end of the blade and extends all the way out to the tip. This guy's definitely running on bearings. It's got great action. We are looking at, for hardware, we've got T8 screw for the pivot, and we also have T8 screws for the body screws and T6 screws for the pocket clip. There is no blade play left, right, up, or down on this guy, and the blade is perfectly centered, which is fantastic. Let's check the balance on this guy real quick. It's a little bit butt heavy, as you can see here, but it's... Whoop, I lost it. I hate it when that happens. It's a little bit butt heavy, but it's not too bad. As you can see here, it's just a little bit behind the pivot. But in hand, it's a very small knife, so it doesn't make too much of a difference when you have it in hand. It doesn't make it feel too heavy or too imbalanced at all. You do have a little bit of a sharpening choil here. It kind of looks like they were going for a forward finger choil, but that's a little too small for me to be able to use as a forward finger choil. I definitely would end up cutting myself if I tried to use that. You've got G10 scales, which are smooth. But definitely contoured on the edges and nicely knocked down. You have a stainless steel backspacer here, which has some milling on it, and that also assists in getting a good grip on this knife and provides some meaningful traction. You also have a little bit of jimping here on the liner lock, which allows you to get some access to that and helps you in disengaging the knife. And disengagement, there's no problem with that whatsoever. There's no lock stick or anything like that on this knife. You do have a bent stainless steel clip here, which I don't know if I said or not, but that's held in there by 2 T6 screws and a little bit of milling here in the center of it. And then you've got this ceramic ball bearing, which provides the detent or the traction to put this guy into your pocket. It does go in and out of the pocket relatively easily. I don't really like ceramic ball pocket clips, but as those go, this one is pretty good. The ergonomics on this guy are pretty good. There's really no hot spots or anything like that. You do get a little bit of pressure from this ball bearing and from the clip and everything since it's raised up a little more. But this isn't exactly the kind of knife that you're going to use for, hours and hours of cutting or anything like that. So it's not too bad. You also get a little bit of a hot spot from this jimping here on the liner. But it's not terrible. I do wish that we could use this as a forward finger choil just to be able to choke up on this knife a little bit more. That would make it a little bit more comfortable. But for somebody with a normal size hand, I don't know, maybe they could use that as a forward finger choil. As far as the flipper tab is concerned, you can light switch this and you can also push button it. The light switch is a little bit more reliable than the light switch. If you don't pull the flipper tab quite hard enough, it will only go about halfway out. But it's not terrible. If if you're intending to flip it out 99% of the time, it will flip out with no problem. But I have found that push buttoning this is a little bit more liable than light switching it. I will say that the flipper tab is a little bit pokey for push button operation, but again, you're not going to be opening and closing this guy 30 or 40 times a day unless you're playing with it, so that's not too bad at all. As far as the aesthetics of this knife go, it looks really, really cool. I obviously wish it was a little bit bigger, but it's not terrible. I like the fuller here that they have on the blade, and I also like the milling that they've done in the center with those holes. They don't provide any meaningful function or anything like that, but they definitely look nice. And I obviously like the grind lines on this guy for sure. See if I can get you a better view here of the whole knife, all the way down. Now, let's see if I've missed anything. I got the centering, I got the blade steel, blah, 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 blah. 150 thousandths, hollow grind. Okay, so the price on this guy is where I kind of bump a little bit. It's $79, which isn't terrible, but for a knife this size with these materials, I kind of feel like that's overpriced a little bit. I kind of feel like you're paying for this right here. $50, $60. Okay, I can kind of see that. You've got some small extras here. You've got the fuller here with the milling on the blade. You've got the fact that the back of the spine of this blade is radius. That's really nice. It's nice looking and it's comfortable. And you've also got the pocket clip with this ceramic ball bearing there that verifiably makes that cost a little bit more. But as far as, I think a reasonable price for this knife would be $50. So I don't think that there's enough here to justify the extra $30, but it's a company, they have to make money. So as far as for me, I personally wouldn't buy this knife, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that could justify this price range or this price point with no problem whatsoever. The issue is there's not thousands of people out there clamoring to buy this knife. So it just seems a little bit overpriced to me, but not to the point where it's like, an insult to us or anything like that. The people are still buying this knife. People still enjoy this knife. And I enjoy it quite a bit myself. As I said, I just wouldn't pay this much for this knife. This is currently available at several different sites. I will absolutely link those in the description if anybody is interested in buying this knife. I don't think that anybody would ever be disappointed in this purchase. It's definitely a high quality knife. It's got high quality materials on it. It's just, I don't know about high quality to the point for $80, as far as the size of the knife is concerned. There's no milling on the G10 or anything like that to make it any more interesting. There's no milling on the inside. There's no milling for those steel liners. But I don't know that it needs it. It's, as I said, it's only 4.2 ounces. It's not a super heavy knife to begin with, and it's fantastic in the pocket because it's nice and compact size. I forgot to mention, you also do have a hole back here for a lanyard, if that's your thing. But I think that's it for this one today, guys. I can't think of anything else to say about this guy. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. And stay up, y'all. Take it easy. Bye.